Magic mirror on the wall. Who's the fairest one of all?
It's obviously me. Now take a fairy tale princess and get out of here.
That's right, Jason Statham, a working man, has beat Snow White in her second week at the box office. Yes, with a second weekend haul of only $14.3 million domestic, Jason Statham's Working Man at $15.3 million knocks Snow White down to number 2. Virtually unprecedented for a Disney tentpole of this size. This second weekend finds Snow White struggling to keep up at the box office, beaten out by a working man who transported Snow White down to number 2. But you, yes you, watching this right now, you remain number 1 as the greatest audience on YouTube. And unlike Ms. Zegler, we will never stop liking you, as we hope that you do like us. Like this video down below. And get ready to leave your comments as we discuss this unprecedented second weekend drop for a Disney tentpole. Disney's Snow White is in its second weekend of release at the movie theaters, and as predicted, it's not doing as well as Disney, I'm sure, would have hoped. Unfortunately, it's not only doing as bad as some speculated, it's doing far, far worse than some had ever speculated that it could do. Not only has it gone downhill, but in its second weekend of release with no real blockbuster competition, it actually lost its spot in first place to a Jason Statham action movie. And now I love Jason Statham, don't get me wrong, and I really enjoy his action movies, and I love his accent. Yeah, I'm Jason Statham, and I'm going to shoot a few people up here. No, it's great, but I would have never expected that Snow White would have taken second place in its second weekend. But we have a story out of thatparkplace.com, and this is written by M. Montanero. Snow White crashes 70% in second weekend box office drop. Rachel Zegler at Disney on track to lose number 1 spot to patriotic action movie, A Working Man. A Working Man, starring me, Jason Statham. After months of controversy, inflated budgets, and PR meltdowns, Disney's live-action Snow White looks like it will be knocked off the top of the box office with a devastating financial drop. Not by a billion-dollar franchise. No. Not by an Oscar-bait drama, but by a Jason Statham action flick with a modest budget and a title that sounds like a Home Depot ad. That's a good point. It does kind of sound like a Home Depot ad. A Working Man. There's the official trailer on MGM Studios. Of course, we cannot play that because we like to stay in good with the YouTubes. A Working Man, an unassuming thriller about a decorated military veteran rescuing a kidnapped girl, is tracking to take the number 1 spot this weekend with a current box office take of $15.2 million as of this writing. Meanwhile, Snow White plummeted nearly 70% from its already dismal debut, pulling in just $14.2 million in its second frame. Let's be clear, this isn't just a loss, it's a rejection. Yes, this is a flat-out rejection. Oish! The fairest flop of all. Disney spent over $250 million producing Snow White, and that's before marketing. They jetted Rachel Zegler around the world for months, filled social media with carefully curated promo spots, and propped up their star through puff piece interviews and choreographed red carpet moments. They worked overtime to repair the damage Zegler caused by mocking the original film, trashing the idea of love stories, and framing her version of Snow White as a symbol of activism. And it still wasn't enough. There is Dopey, or as I like to call him, Mr. Nightmare Fuel. The fairest flop of all was knocked out by a film called A Working Man. That's not just a box office defeat, it's a cultural gut punch. It's a moment that confirms what audiences have been whispering for years. They're tired of lectures and reboots. The people just want to be entertained. David just beat Goliath with a pipe wrench. Let's compare the two films. A Working Man. Modest production budget, starring Jason Statham, not a headline-grabbing celebrity. Released with little fanfare, directed by David Ayer, not exactly a household name, patriotic themes, a veteran rescuing an innocent girl from criminals. Snow White, 250 million plus budget, based on Disney's first ever animated classic, marketed globally for months, progressive modern audience social justice themes, and yet a working man is beating it. By the way, I don't know if it's going to be highlighted in this article, but A Working Man was released in 1,000 fewer theaters, fewer screens, has 1,000 fewer screens in the United States than Snow White, which is really, really crazy to think. That tells you everything you need to know about where the audience trust is right now. No IP, no legacy, no marketing machine, just a simple classic premise that respected its audience and respected itself. Snow White and the 70% drop. Snow White opened with $45 million, already far below Disney's expectations. And to be more specific on that, last weekend, it was $42.2 million. So there's a lot of estimates. But a nearly 70% drop from that base is brutal. Brutal, brutal, brutal. It's worse than the 53% drop the industry was bracing for, and it officially put Snow White on track to struggle to reach $100 million at the domestic box office. That is a disaster. A disaster. Snow White is becoming a disaster movie. What's going on? Wow, it's so extreme. Especially for a film that cost Disney more than $250 million to make and still needs to claw back hundreds of millions of more just to break even. That's right. As I pointed out earlier, you got to get to about $800 million for this film to break even, according to the estimates that we have. We'll see. I mean, if it stays in movie theaters till August, maybe. There's Zegler waiting on her wish. Audience didn't just skip Snow White, they embraced its competition. So what happens now? Disney is scrambling. There's no spin that saves this. The press can try to soften it, but the reality is simple. Snow White isn't just underperforming, it's collapsing. And it's not just about the box office numbers, it's about the cultural moment. This was Disney's attempt to repackage a beloved classic as a vessel for modern messaging, to frame a once beloved fairy tale as a fix-it project, and it blew up in their faces. Jason Statham didn't just win the weekend, he exposed the entire machine. What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments below. What are your thoughts? Did you go see Snow White? Did you love Snow White? Did you not like Snow White? Or are you even going to go see Snow White? Let us know in the comments below. Why did it take such a drastic drop, and why did Jason Statham's movie, of all things, overcome Snow White in Snow White's only second weekend to become the #1 box office movie in the United States of America? Well, likely the spin will be that Snow White is still the #1 movie in the world. I expect to see marketing like that this week. Snow White, #1 movie internationally. We'll see what happens. But yeah, crash and burn, I'm telling you. But you, the greatest audience on YouTube, will never crash and burn. No, you will thrive and learn. And what did you learn? Please leave a comment below and let us know. Do like this video before you head out the door. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed, and click that notifications bell. When you click it, you stick it to the YouTube algorithm, and you get notified of all of our uploads here at Follow the Bradley's Fun. Thank you so much, and until next time, we will see you real soon. Bye, everybody. Ciao!